Let's start off with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers on Sunday Night Football. The Chiefs are 6-point favorites on the road in this one. The total's around 51, so pretty high here. And we know the freaks come out at night. So who do you like to have a freak performance in the captain spot for this matchup?
I like Justin Herbert to have a freak performance here. He could be getting back his top two wide receivers here in Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Even if they are limited, that's going to be massive for him. But we have to monitor Gerald Everett too. He's also on the injury report. But either way, I think he's going to have more weapons at his disposal this week than he has the previous few weeks. Plus, this is a matchup where, the Chargers will probably have a pass-heavy game script. Chiefs ranked 22nd in DVOA against the pass, and they've allowed two or more passing touchdowns to every quarterback they've faced this season other than Malik Willis, which makes sense. But, it's not so much their defense is bad. It's teams have to keep throwing and try to keep up with this offense. So in a potential shootout, I think this is the time to reinvest in Justin Herbert.
Yeah, he could get that full complement of weapons back. Have to wait and see. I'm hearing a lot of conflicting reports about, how ready to go are these guys. Keenan Allen said he wouldn't play unless he's ready to go. So you would think he'd be in a good spot. But, I think it'll be a good sign for Herbert if he gets all those guys back. For me, I'll go with Austin Eckler to have a freak performance. I think maybe if everyone comes back, people will be a little bit off Eckler, but Kansas City is allowing the most receptions per game in the league to running backs at 7.4 and the most receiving yards per game to running backs at 52.6. Eckler also had a 9-catch game in that first meeting in week number 2, and he's averaging 19 touches for 96 scrimmage yards on the season with over a touchdown per game. So I still think he'll be heavily involved either way, and I'm hoping that, maybe getting some of these guys back kind of splits up some of that rostership among all the different Charger players instead of it being super concentrated on Eckler. So I'll go with Eckler.
Yeah, that's a good call. He obviously has one of the biggest ceilings on this slate. Plus, with all the pass catchers being questionable, if they're all limited, it's going to force Eckler to step up for sure.
All right, who you like for dart throws in this one?
I don't know if I can consider Josh Palmer a dart throw, but, with everybody potentially coming back, maybe he falls under the radar a bit. But even if Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and Gerald Everett all suit up, it looks like DeAndre Carter's also questionable too. Palmer's still going to play a ton of snaps. Like these guys won't be able to return to a full workload. So Palmer's still going to be a key piece in this offense. So his rostership could take a dip here, but I like the idea of just sticking with him. A little bit more under the radar, I guess, would be Trey McKitty, especially if Gerald Everett ends up suiting up. Everett's dealing with a groin injury. There's a chance he could be limited or even have an in-game setback. So with Donald Parham also on IR, it's clear that McKitty would see most of the playing time if Everett is limited. Last week, when Everett got knocked out of the game, McKitty saw 6 targets, got 3 of them for 21 yards. So he's a sneaky play here. And then on the Chiefs side, I guess Kadarius Toney is a little bit too obvious here, but they also have some question marks at wide receiver. Juju, MVS, and Mecole Hardman are all questionable. So if just one or all 3 of those guys am getting ruled out, that's only going to raise Toney's projections. We've already seen a glimpse of his upside in this offense last week. So I like him. And then, again, a little bit more under the radar, their backup tight end, Noah Gray. With the Chiefs having so many wide receivers banged up here, they could, lean on more 2 tight end sets here. Noah Gray has played nicely with, the 2 big games, the past couple of games. Both games would have been very useful on a showdown slate. So I think he's sneaky and a great, showdown type of play.
Yeah, I think Juju, I doubt will play.
Yeah.
Just because he took that hit, and Hardman is probably leaning in the direction of no as well with the abdomen injury. I think MVS was just an illness, so I would expect him to suit up with kind of a platoon of those other backup guys. But we'll see. Obviously, monitor that. I will go with a little bit under the radar contrarian here. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. No touches in the last game. Everyone's kind of going with the narrative that he's been phased out. Andy Reid's had to answer for it all week, but he said, look, we trying to get Pacheco more work, and the series that we did have Edwards-Helaire in there, we got a couple 3-and-outs, and so I think there's still a chance for Edwards-Helaire to kind of pop back up and get a few touches here and there. And if we know one thing, it's that you can't rely on Chiefs backfield usage from week to week. Guys will kind of inexplicably pop up for big games when you least expect it. So I like to buy low on him when his value is essentially in the gutter and nobody's going to trust him. And remember, this Charger defense still bottom 5 in DVOA against the run and on passes to running backs. Edwards-Helaire, 74 yards and 8 carries in the first meeting, and also 4 for 44 receiving. So he had over 100 scrimmage yards on just over 10 touches, not even a ton of touches in the first meeting. So I think he could be efficient here. You never know when he's going to pop up around the end zone. So I think everyone will kind of be like looking for Pacheco and McKinnon, and I'll go with CEH. Also, Isaiah Spiller on the other side, rookie running back. Looks like he's taking over that backfield role. That's something, again, you can't really rely on the usage in that backfield either. But Spiller, I think, is starting to trend up. He, in the last 2 weeks, has outsnapped Sony Michel 23-19, but outtouched him 11-2. And Eckler, if he does, get tripped up, it would be around the goal line. Only 58% of the running back carries inside the 10-yard line have gone to Eckler this year. The other 42% have been split with Joshua Kelly, who was the backup at one point, and Sony Michel. So those could easily go to Spiller now, who doesn't have one yet, but could see him pop up for one of those. And I'll also mention Justin Watson on the Chiefs. If two of the receivers are ruled out, especially, I think Watson really comes into play. He actually led the team outside of MVS in routes last week. It wasn't Tony. And this Charger D has played a good amount of man coverage, and Watson's averaging over 2 yards per route against man, the best on the team. So Watson could pop up big in this spot. Everyone's kind of looking for Tony and Sky Moore, but Sky Moore's playing time was the one guy who really didn't change. So I think Watson would see a boost, and he had a good game in the first meeting as well. But I think he would see a kind of under the radar boost in playing time if guys miss, even if one guy misses really. I think you could see it with Watson, but particularly if two miss, I think there's a chance he could be an every down player.
Yeah, I was about to say that this would be the first time you don't at least mention Sky Moore and watch him go off, but you mentioned him, so that's good. But yeah, Tony is obviously the sexy play, but Justin Watson, great under the radar play. And I love the Clyde Edwards-Helaire call. I mean, how many touches do you have him for here? I have him like 4 or 5, but
yeah, just a handful. He's like barely in the top 50 running backs ranking wise, but it's a perfect DFS kind of play.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is his median projections obviously low. We know that, but there's just a wide range of outcomes with this backfield. And Jerick McKinnon is also banged up. He's dealing with a couple injuries, so Edwards-Helaire could certainly have a bounce back game here. They did have one snap near the goal line. He didn't get a touch, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire was in on the goal line play. So it seems like he's still going to be the goal line back. That's not really Pacheco's thing. So I do think he's going to be very low rostered and can easily have a bounce back spot here.
Yeah, I don't think they have a traditional goal line back in the sense of I think they're just kind of trying to rotate their running backs in. And obviously, they wanted to give Pacheco more. We talked about Pacheco all offseason, so I'm glad that is coming to fruition, but you got to kind of take what you're given on these slates, and go with the guy who will probably
their goal line backs are Burton, Noah Gray, and Jody Fortson, right?
Yeah, just and Kelsey will got
under. Kelsey's everything, but
he'll go under. I'll take the Durham Smythe sneak too. All right, let's move to the Monday.
Do you like either fullback in that game?
Oh yeah, I almost forgot.
Got a couple decent ones at least. Come on.
So we got Burton and our boy Xander Horvath, who was it this game where he got the touchdown last? Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, that was week 2.
Yep.
1 catch for 1 yard with 1 touchdown. He hasn't done jack shit since then. He had 1 carry last week, but again, This should be a higher scoring game, so the odds of him getting a vulture touchdown certainly go up here.
Yeah, I think, and Burton has been the short yardage back at points, as you mentioned, for the Chiefs. So I think both of them are in play. I would lean Burton only because I think they'll be on high alert for Horvath after he got the little play action dump off 1 yard touchdown. They saw that on film. That's probably not something you use again in the second meeting. You get a little more creative there. So I think the Chiefs are on higher alert now to use their fullback this time around. And what about the luck rankings for this one?
Yeah, so the Chiefs are the 6th luckiest team, and the Chargers are 12th. So not really a big enough discrepancy to factor that in any way. So should be a pretty straight up game in terms of luck.